Part 1. Intro / What is it? Exodus chapter 20 verses 8 through 11 says, Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy maidservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea, and all that is in it, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Of the commandments that we have looked at so far, the fourth commandment here is the biggest section of verses and the largest word count, and goes into much more of an explanation describing how this commandment is included, which means there's more material that we are needing to cover here. In these verses, God says there is a difference in the days of the week. The first 6 days that are grouped together, and then the last day, the Sabbath day, is set apart. However, we need to look into what exactly is included in keeping this commandment prohibiting certain action from being done on this Sabbath day. God wanted this day to be set apart and to be different from the rest of the days. He wanted it to be a day that was holy. Repetition typically creates habits and encourages learning. For example, if we wanted to learn another language, if we set aside one day specifically to studying to learn that language, we would inherently become better and stronger just by the repetition and practice and studying routinely every week. This is the same logic that God had behind this Sabbath day. Under the old law, God wanted His chosen people to set aside one specific day every week just for Him. Because of that, we can see in this 11th verse that is a direct reference to the creation of the world, which we can see that from Genesis chapter 2 verse 3, where it says, And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it He had rested from all the work which God created and had made. Both of these verses talk about a day that is different from the rest. Between Genesis 2 talking about a day of rest after creation, and Genesis chapter 20 talking about a day that is supposed to be holy, dedicated to God. But there's plenty of verses in the Old Testament that talk about this Sabbath day of rest. Leviticus chapter 23 verse 3, Deuteronomy chapter 5 verses 12 through 15, Isaiah chapter 56 verses 2 through 7, and more. The Sabbath day was something that was supposed to be a dedication to God. The purpose of it was for everything else that needed to get done should be done any other day of the week. Then whenever it came to this Sabbath day, was supposed to be more of a rest day from the everyday life and instead a focus on God. On this day of rest, all the people were, instead of working, supposed to be spending their attention towards God, making it as a day that was dedicated just towards Him, and doing that it would allow them to strengthen their bond and their spiritual relationship with Him. This was something that was supposed to be very important in order for the Israelites to be doing in order for them to keep serving God. With it being a commandment too, we can see its importance to God over in verses like Exodus chapter 31 verse 14, where it says, Ye shall keep the Sabbath thereof, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it should surely be put to death, and whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. In order to get the point across that God was supposed to be important, so much so that it should take precedence over anything else that is in this world. Throughout history, there are many times they did not keep to this Sabbath. The obvious question that arises on this commandment is, what exactly does it mean to be working on this Sabbath day? How should work be defined? We can see from verses like Exodus chapter 35 verse 3, in which this verse is talking about how even stoking or maintaining a fire would be something that is considered to be work. So if you were going to be doing this on a Sabbath day, it would be something that is against God's commandment and wrong. However, at the same time, we can see other verses that talk more about how we aren't supposed to be cooking on the Sabbath day, and we need to be preparing and doing that on other days, found in Exodus chapter 16, verse 23. It is because of this that we can start to see that the Israelites were beginning to get lost in the details of this commandment rather than the importance of the commandment itself, where we are just supposed to be honoring God and giving a day that is dedicated towards God.